please, when you do the interview sheets, please do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So try not to leave any gaps in there, because that makes it much out of compassion and kindness for me. Wow, already full. Okay, here we go. Number 1. Dear Venerable Sir, please give us some specific instructions on walking meditation. How fast, slow, what do we think, breathe out or left, right, many thanks. It's, sometimes you don't need too many specific instructions. We live in a time now where we have information overload. So, but you asked, so this is what you're going to get. You start at one end. You put your gaze about 2 foot in front of you. No, meter in front of you. In other words, you're looking in front of you. No, meter, that's 2 meters. That's right. 2 meters in front of you, just like a body length, so you can actually see where you're going. You don't look to the left, you don't look to the right, up or down, about 2 meters in front of you, so you're not going to trip over anything. You don't close your eyes, otherwise you bang into the wall, and we haven't got insurance for that. So 2 meters in front of you, you walk, and when you get to the end, you turn around and you walk back again. Now, what are you doing? As little as possible. Keep it as simple as possible. However, a lot of times people just, if they don't get instructions, the mind doesn't know what to do, and it just does stupid things like think and plan and write your autobiography or fantasize or whatever else, just your best menu so you can go and tell Bianca what to cook tomorrow for yourself. Or, you can actually just, there is a place where you can get some internet connections, and I think, does the pizza delivery come this far? But it's amazing what you can start thinking out there on that walking meditation path if you're not sort of restrained. So instead, what we do, 2 meters in front of you, and just be in the present moment. Not in the future, not in the past, but just to be here. What does it feel like to walk? What does it feel like just to be here? And so you come home into this moment. You're not trying to get somewhere, develop something. That's off into the future. You're not worrying about who said what to you earlier today. That's in the past. You're just here, enjoying this moment. Once you come into the present moment, the other thing is to be silent. Don't talk to yourself, with your brain, thinking about all sorts of stuff. So just be here. Just come into this moment. Mindful, aware. If you want to, put some attention on your peaceometer. How peaceful are you? What do you need to be more peaceful? To move that needle closer and closer to 1. So just walk. As you walk in the present moment, just developing some peace, it doesn't matter fast or slow. It's what your body wants to walk, fast or slow. You're not catching a train or anything, so you don't have to go fast, but you don't have to go slow. It's not a competition to see who can walk the slowest. Just because you're slow, that doesn't mean you're mindful. You can walk mindful fast, mindful medium, mindful slow. That is not the point. And in fact, we always prefer mindful medium, not too fast, not too slow. There are many stories about that. One particular story, this was maybe almost 38 years ago now, when the first monks from our tradition went to UK, they went to Sussex. And it was very hard to do any retreats, so they found one of their supporters had bought very cheaply a big house in a village. She bought it because some of the rooms were just, they weren't level because there had been a drought and the foundations had moved. So she got it cheap, but there was lots of rooms in there. And so she offered it for a weekend retreat. Now the problem was that the lady was a head psychiatrist in the local hospital for those who were mentally disturbed. And being a small English village, everybody knew in that village who she was. She was a psychiatric doctor. So, because in English villages everybody's very nosy, when somebody looked through the curtains of their house and saw in the grounds of this big house, owned by a psychiatric doctor, there was all these people walking, mindfully lifting and going forward. You guess what happened? She thought that she'd invited some of her patients home. And it got... They actually called the police, and the police cars came up to take all the meditators back to where they belonged. And it took a lot of explanation. These weren't patients who were mentally disturbed. These were meditators. It took a long time to convince the English police the difference between the two. So it doesn't matter fast or slow. That actually happened a long time ago. If it can happen, it does happen. So you just walk very naturally. You don't force it. Fast, if you want to walk fast, slow, just at your own pace, whatever your body wants to do. In the moment. Peaceful. But then usually what happens, it happens naturally, you start to focus just on walking, what it's like to walk. Of course, if you get too involved in it, you just interfere with the process. You know how to walk, you just be the observer. Like you're looking at yourself walking. And keep it natural, and it's amazing just how many muscles have to move just for one step. So you're in the moment, just one step at a time. That's all you have. Keep it simple. And you're just being here, walking. And it gets really fascinating. Usually, quite, for me anyway, quite naturally you start to go slow and slow and slow. There's just too much going on. So you can't miss too much. And you just really go into a nice peaceful world, just watching all the movements of the body as you're walking. You're not forcing it, you're not controlling it. Body does the walking, you just do the mindfulness and the letting go. If that doesn't work for you because you're very restless, you can use what we call a mantra, which is just introducing. These are words which you say along with maybe your breathing or your steps, walking, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, which makes it more interesting. And the best mantra for walking meditation is as you walk, is your left step, you say to yourself, I will die, right step, that's for sure. I will die, that's for sure. Left step, I will die, that's for sure. I will die, that's for sure. Now you can't argue with that. You know, whatever belief, religion, philosophy you have, everyone agrees with that. So first of all, you laugh. This is ridiculous. What am I doing this for? I will die, that's for sure. Then you get to stage 2. You think, oh my goodness, this is actually fact. I will die, that's for sure. And stage 3, no, stage 2 is realizing this is truth. Stage 3 is you get to fear. Oh my goodness, are you ready to die? Any moment you can die. People have heart attacks in the middle of nowhere. Who knows? This could be it. The cholesterol might be going into your heart right now. The big blob. It happens, okay? So, I will die, that's for sure. You get to the fear, but then you think, well, so what? What a wonderful place it is to die in a Buddhist monastery on retreat. You can't do better than that. Of all the places to die, I mean, that's probably the peak of dying when you're on a meditation retreat. So, you know, it was, wow, as George W. Bush would say, bring it on. And if any of you have been to old people's homes and just, you know, dementia wards, you wouldn't want to face that. So you escaped all of that, woohoo. So whatever happens, I will die, that's for sure. When you get through the fear, it's just, the next stage is you let go. No attachment, I'm going to die anyway, so what's the big deal anyway? All the problems, all the things people say about you, all the unfinished business, all the problems, financial problems, wondering whether, you can sort of keep the job, which maybe you don't know what's going to happen here, not going to happen there. But all of that just disappears. Going to die anyway, what's the big point? So you just let go. And that's when it gets very peaceful. It's called Maranasati, the mindfulness on death. It's just a great way of letting go. All the things you're worried about in this world. Now, what are you worried about it for? So you just let it go. You feel so free. So that's why it's very, very nice to be able to do that. So that's another way of doing the walking meditation. I will die, that's for sure. If you get really bored, Analia, you're the expert on this. You know what's coming, don't you? So, we have, like when Buddhism, I was talking with Ajahn Brahmani today, how can we just get Buddhism to be more Australian? It's an Australian culture. So, you've got to sort of make it sort of, this Thai Buddhism, Tibetan Buddhism, Sri Lankan Buddhism, you do chanting your way, the Chinese Buddhism, even Singapore Buddhism, Australian Buddhism. And so we developed walking meditation Australian style. Are you in jhana, so you're trying to get escape? Come on, Anna, you did it so beautifully last time. So, did you have lunch today? You had lunch today, so no such thing as a free lunch. So, this is walking meditation Australian style. So first of all, your posture, you sit with usually your feet a little bit further apart, that's right, and your hands, and it's not left foot, right foot, it is hop, kangaroo, come on. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much. Sadhu, sadhu. So you're asked how to do walking meditation. That's the best, the peak. So what you do, you stand in one on the bar. You stand on one end, and you hop to the other end, and you turn around and you hop back again. It is cultural acceptable, for Australia. Okay. If any of you, if you've got even an ounce of compassion, and you see someone else being really miserable and tired and fed up because nothing's going right, do the kangaroo walking meditation out of compassion for them, and it makes people so happy. It's a little gift of joy and happiness for people. So that's how you do walking meditation kangaroo style. Thank you so much, Ananda, you do it so beautifully. Is it okay to bring guided meditation on audio devices and headphones into the meditation hall? Or should we just use them in our rooms? No, you can bring them here. The guided meditations. Often people ask to do a guided meditation, but it is difficult because some people like it, some people don't like it. Some people would rather just do their particular type of meditation. And so what we usually do, there's so many guided meditations available, so you can download something and then you put it in your on your whatever device, bring it into here and just put it on your in your buds, so that no one else can hear it except you, and that's fine, no problem at all. So yes, you can use it in here, but please just make sure that it is sort of proper sort of guided meditation, and it's not Jimi Hendrix or the 6 o'clock news, or some Sri Lankans here, the cricket match. I'm not sure what you're listening to. So yes, that's allowable, it's good. What exactly does Kundalini and Kundalini awakening mean? Okay, the Kundalini stuff, it's not usually recommended in Buddhist meditation, but what it is you get to a stage in meditation and you get really lots of energy coming up, but you haven't really done it properly, and so instead of actually letting the body disappear and that energy staying where it belongs in the sixth sense in the mind, it tends to actually to go into your body. I once called it like a leaky bucket. You should be just having totally let go of your perceptions of the five senses, which is what defines your body, and just be in the sixth sense, the mind, just deep inside yourself. And all that energy can come up, and it's very beautiful, and you have a wonderful time with it. But if it goes into your body, it's powerful, but it's very uncomfortable, and it causes problems sometimes. So we don't usually, encourage that at all. In other words, do the meditation according to the instructions. Be in the present moment, be still, and I'm going to talk about tomorrow how you just allow the body to vanish and disappear. Because when something is still, it vanishes. So when the body is still, it vanishes, and then you just go into the mind, and that's where that energy belongs. So Kundalini is mind energy just leaking into the body. It's not bad. You're not going to go crazy, but it's uncomfortable. It's energy in the wrong place. In the sutras, some people, upon hearing the Dhamma, become stream enterers. Did they skip meditation, or does it mean they must have meditated in the past life? I've been to many people's houses, and you see people who get their degree. And I've seen pictures of them, like an MA or a B or a BA, or like some people, like Ajahn Brahmani's got 2 MAs. That's why he's a mama. He's Mama Brahmali. It's true, MA. So, but you see the pictures, and they have to dress up in a funny suit and this stupid hat, and then some dignitary just gives them a roll of paper. So that must be, I've seen that many, many times, that must be how you get a degree. You just got to get one of those silly suits, go to, I think they're called convocations, aren't they? And then you just wait for your name to be called up, and you go up, you get your degree. I've seen that many times. That's how you get degrees. You don't have to go to lectures. You don't have to do exams or assignments, because that's all I've ever seen. Just like people say, they do in the sutras, some people hear the Dhamma and they become stream enterers. That is the convocation, the straw which breaks the camel's back, the last piece of the jigsaw. It doesn't mention all the other things which they had to do before that last piece of Dhamma. Yes, that's it. That's the last piece of the jigsaw puzzle. It's because that's what people like to do. They like to, to focus on just the last part, the wedding ceremony, the exchanging of rings. That may be in the sort of your photograph album. You don't have all the preparations, the deciding what dress to wear, what suit to wear. You know why it is that, when people get married, the wife, why is it the girl always wears white? Now, I know some people said, and I don't agree with this, it's because all kitchen appliances are white, but that's not true. That's very sexist. No, it's because white is the colour of purity. So that's when the bride always wears white, sign of her purity. And the guy always wears grey or black. What's that a sign of? Figure that out for yourself. But anyway, you have the last piece of the marriage. That's all you see. You don't see what happened beforehand and all the things which led up to that. So we tend in life always just to focus on just that last little piece, where the person scored the final run to win the cricket match. So that's like with the sutras, we're just focusing on the final part, just hearing something, and then they become stream enterers. But it's not just, it's assumed that all the other practice, all the other keeping precepts, giving dana, just being compassionate, meditating, the whole Eightfold Path is implied there. So you can't just, hearing the Dhamma, become stream enterers. And I will give you an example. The famous one with Bahiya. He went up to the Buddha, and the Buddha just told him, now listen carefully, in the scene there will just be the seen. In the heard, just the heard. In the sensed, just the sensed. And then the cognized by your mind, just the cognized. And Bahya became an arahat. How many of you got that? Why? You heard it. Same. So what was missing? It was just like you go off to a convocation in a universe and expect to be called up to get a degree. It's all the other stuff which is necessary as well. Not just listen to just a couple of words. Hi Ajahn. Hi. Please can you remind us of the phrase that can be repeated in the mind? The new chanting has overridden it for me. If I remember correctly, it was something like praise to the Buddha in Pali. Oh, that Namo Buddhaya, I think was it? Yeah, that was Namo Buddhaya. Is anyone from Indonesia here? Yay, and Namo Buddhaya. What do you say? Yeah, there we go. And it's also Sri Lankan as well. They also do that, Namo Buddhaya. So, yeah, it's actually how Theravada Buddhists say hello to each other. Instead of like Ayuba one or Good day, mate, or Salamabagi, it's like Namo Buddhaya, and they go back Namo Buddhaya. It's a nice little greeting for Theravada Buddhists. So, using that one, this was to repeat it in the mind. This is to try a skillful means to overcome lots and lots and lots of thought. If you're really obsessed with something and the thought keeps going on and on and on and on and on, and on and on and on and on, you're having a difficulty stopping the thought. We've got something called substitution. So you substitute it with another thought, a simple thought. So just say Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. Say it to yourself, but after a while that drives you crazy just saying the same old word over and over and over again. So you do that for a minute or two, like Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. And then the trick is to start putting spaces between the syllables. Na, mo, bud, da, ya, na, mo, bud, da, ya, na. And really listen, be mindful of the silence, the space between the syllables. And little by little, you lengthen the space. Na, mo, bud. If thoughts come in, you've lengthened the spaces too quick, so close them up a bit. And very patiently, you lengthen the spaces until it's na, mo. Because you don't want to disturb the silence. You've got the silence there, and the silence is much more attractive. So that's one nice little technique you can try. One of many if you get lots and lots of thoughts and you just can't stop thinking. Of course, you don't always think. You were silent just now. But we don't notice the silence. We only notice the words. That's our problem. For example, it's a pretty crowded room, isn't it, this evening? What do you mean crowded? There's more space in this room than there's people. But we've always got used to watching the things instead of the space between things. This room is really empty. Look at just how much space is there. Huge. But we very rarely notice space. We notice the things rather than the space. So this is actually where we start noticing the space between things rather than the things themselves. And then we can also starting to notice the space between our thoughts. When you start noticing them, it's beautiful. Silence, the space is much more delightful than the thoughts. How often do lay followers nowadays gain deep insight into the Dharma? How is the odds? The odds were terrible when you came in here, but the odds have increased. So I use my powers to make you all favourites to win the Deep Meditation Cup. Not the Melbourne Cup, the Meditation Cup. Whatever it is. How often do lay followers nowadays gain deep insight? Like here's if you want to get deep insight and get jhanas and stuff. Here's the whole story. Well, it must be 2 or 3 years ago now. Start of a retreat. I forget whether it was November or January or May retreat. Yeah, I was hanging around the office when people were checking in, and this gentleman came in, and he was really big, very hairy, and covered with tattoos. He was Caucasian. I was being stupid. I stereotyped him. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, you've come to the wrong place. This is a Buddhist meditation center. The prison's up the road." Because that's where he looked like he belonged. You know, this big, heavy guy, lots of tattoos. And he said, no. I've booked on this retreat. This is my name. And he was down there, so fair enough. He came in. You know, I haven't seen him again. I must have offended him, I don't know. But you're quite welcome if you ever want to come back again. He's actually amazingly welcome because, you know, well, okay, fair enough. You know, you came in here, so off you go. And one of the interviews, he really blew me apart because, you know, he was describing his experience and, you know, he had got a jhana. The least person I would have expected. And if I'd have, you know, been the bookie. They used to call them bookies when I was in England. The guy who takes bets on odds on people. If I'd have been taking odds, he would have been just the outsider. No, way outside. Other people, "Oh, no, you've been coming a long time. Yeah, you know, you sit very well. Yeah, I'll give, you know, you might be the favourite." But he was rank outsider, and he was the one who got the jhana. So, you can't tell. And after that, people asked me, well, to increase my opportunity of getting deep meditation, should I get some tattoos? Who knows, maybe. But anyway, he was a star meditator, so you can't tell. But it does happen. Dear Ajahn, when I sit down and meditate, I found that I can most of the time enjoy watching breath come and go. The peaceometer level stays good, and if it changes, I adjust my sitting position. Okay. My mind still starts wandering every now and then. I have to bring it back to breath, like gently holding a child's hand and guiding it. Overall, the experience is peaceful so far, and can go for 15 to 20 minutes before I feel I need to stop and take a break. Is this approach correct? And should I try to continue to extend my time? Don't worry about the time. Don't even take a clock. Just when you feel peaceful, fine, carry on. Which means that sometimes what happens is you meditate, "Oh, I'm enjoying this," you just keep carrying on, forget about time. Don't be a prisoner of time, because time is all about desire and wanting. And you don't want it. When wanting disappears, when craving vanishes, so does time. Interesting. That's why that sometimes you're sitting here, you don't want anything in the world, and time vanishes. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Wonderful. And you come out of meditation, look at the clock. Can't be. What, 4 hours? Impossible. But it is. So, and anyway, I will be talking about what to do when the mind goes wandering off. You know, a lot of times, you keep bringing it back again. If you keep bringing the child back again, after a while it throws a tantrum. Sometimes your mind does that, but I'll talk more about that tomorrow. That's okay. What is the difference between walking meditation and sitting meditation? I know one difference. It's just like the old joke. What's the difference between an elephant and a cabbage? What's the difference between an elephant and a cabbage? If you don't know, I'm not going to send you out to get my shopping. I think what you really mean. Let's see here. It feels easier for me to do walking meditation. I'm not sure why. Can you help enlighten me? That's what I'm here for. That's my job. So if you are doing walking meditation, yeah, you don't get so sleepy. Because I've never seen anybody fall asleep doing walking meditation and hitting the wall. Sitting meditation, oh yeah. So sometimes because it's more active, you've got your eyes open, it means that sloth and torpor may be not as big a problem for you, sleepiness. But you can't get as deep in walking meditation as you can when you do sitting meditation. So you alternate them. And you don't get sore legs or sore butt or sore knees when you're doing walking meditation. So that's good to do walking meditation, but do both. I have lost some family members through cancer. I find myself worrying about those close to me and my own health at times. How can I see impermanence in a loving way and let go of my fears? I wish to accept the unknown without fear. Remember, it's the fear which causes the cancer in the first place, the stress. Like I often say that every year I go off to the, used to be the Cancer Support Association, then the Cancer Wellness Association. Now it's been taken over, run by Solaris. And I've been going there for, about 30 years now, every year. And when they got their big campus over in Cottesloe, and when they opened up this new campus in Cottesloe, all paid for by the government, they invited me to come up there to open it together with the former Premier, Colin Barnett. And I managed to get my holy water and give him some. It didn't help. He lost the election. But anyway, there's no other people there, spiritual people. It was just me and the Premier of this state. So where's the archbishops and rabbis and stuff? I said, no, because they reminded me, I've been going to that group for such a long time. They invite me back every year. And I say, why? Why me? What did I do to have to keep coming to your place every year? And that's when they told me that the first year I went there, teaching some meditation, and there was one lady, she had breast cancer, she was in remission, and she had a problem, and no one could fix it. And they had some really top psychologists, psychiatrists, doctors, counselors there, and her problem, she kept on going back again. She said, I've been through this once, I just don't want to go through it again. What would happen if it came back? And she was just so afraid, so anxious about what would happen if the cancer came back. And so when it was my talk, at the end of my talk, she asked a question which no one had been able to answer. This bald-headed guy comes up and said, the answer to the question, what would happen if it came back, is what would happen if it didn't come back. And actually, simple, but she understood it. Oh, I never thought about that. What would happen if it didn't come back? And that was problem solved. And the cancer didn't, it hasn't come back yet, but she keeps coming back every year. It was just a little change, something simple, not complicated. But she really got it. So that's the thing with the fear. You can understand, if you keep worrying about these things, you get so tense and so tight. Then you're making the odds increase to get the cancer. If you just relax and let it go, if it comes, it comes. It doesn't come, that's fine. Then because you're relaxing, the chance of you getting cancer is reduced enormously. So that's why we just have this beautiful, forget about the future. Your future, where is it made? Now. This is where your future is being made, in this present moment. Now is the only time you can do anything about your future. So just relax right now. It's the best possible thing you can do for your future. The chances are then, you won't get cancer. So that's how it works. So how can I see impermanence in a loving way? Impermanence is uncertain. You don't know. You probably get hit by a truck rather than getting cancer. That's not a prediction. Yes, I predict I can see the truck coming in the distance. It's not a prediction. We don't do stuff like that. But please, once you see the problem isn't the cancer, the problem is the fear. So just see if you can just live more in the moment. Future's uncertain. So see if you can get beyond fear. Just be peaceful. How does karma work? Even though it is called the law of karma, my understanding is there is no external force, entity enforcing the law. So how does it work? And how does it flow through birth to birth? Like the law of gravity. There's no external being over there saying it's not dropping fast enough and so push it a bit faster. Or something, goes up into the air and it sort of stops. No. So it's just cause and effect, the law of karma. So it's just if you're inclined to be a good person, then you bring good things to you. If you're inclined to be negative, like you're afraid something bad is going to happen, then you actually make it happen. It's really weird, just we bring about the things we're most afraid of. But if you are kind and peaceful, then it's like we've all done a lot of terrible karma in the past. But that's in one bank account, and you've got lots of good karma. All the good karma you've done, that's another bank account. Why do we always tend to draw on the negative, the bad karma? It's because, again, we're so often focus on negative stuff. Focus on what's wrong instead of what's right. Focus on the 2 bad bricks in the wall instead of the 998 beautiful bricks in the wall. Focus on all your faults and defilements instead of all the wonderful things you've done in life. So it is focusing on the good, on the beautiful. That is the PIN number to access your good karma account. It's basically how it works. When you start just looking at the beautiful things you've done in your life, all the amazing stuff which you've done, then of course, you bring in good karma. But if you always focus on the mistakes and the faults and the bad stuff, of course, that's you bring in the bad stuff. So there is a law of karma, and it works. There was this guy a long time ago. Always remember reading his books. There are some people who are like psychic and do weird stuff, and this was a fellow called Edgar Casey. If ever you know him, he died a long time ago, but he was in Virginia Beach, I think it was, United States, after the First World War, before the Second World War. And this guy was really weird, but it was actually true. He was investigated so many times. He put himself into a trance, and somebody would come and say, you got some weird disease, and they would ask him in trance, just what is with this person, and he'd prescribe the most amazing, ridiculous medicines, and they would always work. I remember the one story, it was very authenticated so many times. The one story that this person was brought to him just really sick, and no one was actually being able to do anything for him, and he prescribed under the trance. He said, this is the name of the medication, that would work. And so they went to the drugstore in the town, and they hadn't heard of this medication. So they put him in trance again. He said, it's not in this town. You'd find it in St. Louis, about 300 miles away. And so you can't email in those days, they sent telegram. And the telegram came back from the drugstore in St. Louis. Never heard of the medicine. So they put him in the trance a third time. And the third time he said, it's in that drugstore, in the back room, 3rd shelf in the left at the back. And they telegraphed that, and the telegraph come back, found it. It was really impressive. And they had all these people just thought he was a fake. So they had all these doctors came down from New York and Washington to try and expose him as a fake. And when he was in trance, they put sort of slivers of wood between his nails and his flesh. And of course, he didn't feel anything. Except when he came out, and then it hurt like hell. And but every doctor who checked him out and authenticated him, the other doctors said, no, you're a fool. I want to prove it for myself. So after a while he said, enough of this, because his fingers were getting infected. But anyway, the reason I say this was because one day, he was a Baptist, a very devout Christian. And one day they put him in trance, and they said, what's the most important law of the universe? And he said, the law of karma. And when he came out, he was devastated. Well, what did I say? I never knew I was saying that. The law of karma, the most important law of the universe. Under trance. Anyway, next question. Any advice for a meditator with tinnitus? My ears are constantly ringing. It doesn't really bother me, but it's the first thing I hear when I wake up. Thank you. Well, what you can do is, when you first wake up, do what I do. I always say to myself, good morning, me. Here I am again. Have a wonderful day. That should be the first thing you say to yourself. Instead of, oh God, not another day. What have I put myself into? Another meditation day. Oh, I could be at home. So, it's... so if you have tinnitus, again, constantly ringing, doesn't really bother me, great. But it's the first thing I hear when I wake up. Amazing. Just go for it. In other words, don't try and get rid of it. Because if you try and get rid of it, it's the old story of the monster in the emperor's palace. You probably hear this so many times. In other words, get out of here, you don't belong. I'll say the full story later on. Get out of here, you don't belong. It makes it worse. You add to it. And forget who it was. During the 3 months range retreat, one of the people staying here, they were meditating, had tinnitus for a long time, and it disappeared while she was here on retreat. Amazing. She never fought it, she never tried to get rid of it, she never expected it to go. It did. Who knows what can happen? I found that my favorite meditation object is the sound of silence. Can this be taken into jhana? And if so, are the steps more or less similar to that of breath meditation? Is there any special reason the Buddha did not teach this method? One of the things is because we're trying to let go of all of the senses. So to focus and give it special attention sometimes means it's hard to let go of later on. You might try and use it at the beginning of your meditation, but the whole thing is, it's like an oxymoron. Two words, one said after the other. If it's silence, there's no sound. If there's sound, there's no silence. But all it is, you're listening to like a ringing sensation or a buzzing or a humming sensation. That might be okay just to get a little bit of mindfulness going, but then please let it go and go on into maybe the body awareness and then onto the breath, because otherwise you get stuck in a cul-de-sac of meditation. I find it easier to start with metta meditation first and start doing for the monks and nuns first. Isn't that nice of you? Why do you say monks and nuns first, not nuns and monks first? Why is it always monks first and then nuns? And I will tell you why, because you just chanted. You know the chant, the Metta Sutta? How did it go again? Whatever living beings there may be, omitting nuns, the great or the mighty, let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. So last time we actually changed that. Just to make it fair, whatever living beings there may be, omitting monks, let monks. No, it's just, so nuns and monks. May they be happy, may they be healthy, may they attain Nibbana in this life itself. Is it wrong in doing it this way? Yeah, it is wrong. I'm not going to follow your orders. If you tell me to be happy, in principle, I will refuse. You've got no right to control me. So when people just come up to me and say, have a safe flight, I say, who are you to tell me to have a safe flight? I'm not going to have a safe flight. I demand my human right to fly whichever way I want to, miserable if I want to be. You tell me to have a good day, that really sucks. Everyone's telling me to have a good day. Just in principle, just to show a bit of independence, I'm going to have a miserable day, just to spite you. So I made a lot of fun of that, because sometimes, may all beings be happy and well. Who are you to tell beings to be happy and well? It's up to them. And especially, may you get better. That's some of the worst things you say to people when they're in hospital bed. I hope you get well soon. That puts the pressure on people. I've got to get well soon because, all the people I love and care about me, they want me to get well soon. It'd be really terrible if I disappoint people. It's bad enough feeling sick, and now I've got to live up to other people's expectations as well to get well soon. So, instead of saying to people, get well soon, if you see someone when they're sick in hospital or in bed, say, yeah, you can get well if you want to, but you don't have to. It's up to you, but I will be there for you even if you get even sick and worse. You don't have to get better. So take the pressure off. The door of my heart is open to you, no matter what you ever do. I got these wonderful little quotes I just gave, I think, to Venerable Mudu's mum, Merle, a few minutes ago when I came in here. And one of them is, I never went to his funeral, but I did send a letter of approval. In other words, they never liked him. So I thought that was funny anyway. Never mind, that didn't go down very well. I just heard about your illness. What's it? I hope it's nothing. I forgot the word. I'll get it later on anyway. It was some famous insults. I don't know why we find insults very funny, but sometimes some insults. The most famous one was it was Oscar Wilde. He was coming out of a club, and he was totally drunk. And as he was coming out of the pub totally drunk, this woman came up to him and said, "Sir, you're drunk." And his reply was, "Madam, you're ugly." And the difference between us, I'll be sober in the morning. That was really mean. But very clever, just to be able to think it up on the spot. I don't know what I'm saying this for. I'm just supposed to be a very kind monk, but no. May you be... was it George Bernard Shaw, the playwright, English playwright, to Winston Churchill. I hereby send you 2 free tickets to the opening night of my play. Please bring a friend, if you have one. And Churchill replied, he said, "Can't possibly go. I'll come on your second night, if you have one." You don't mess with Churchill, he's so sharp. But anyway, so may they be happy, may they be healthy, may they attain Nibbana. So you say, no, my job of real compassion to love you, and the door of my heart is open to you no matter what happens. You're my friend. It's unconditional kindness. Not may you get better. That's putting pressure on people. Because sickness is part of life. And to sort of demean it, stigmatize it, say there's something wrong with it. It's just like in the olden days. Oh, and we can cure your homosexuality. That was so gross. So may you get past it. Like maybe some of your parents say, oh, may you get over your Buddhism. We got a cure for it. And people think that's being kind, compassionate. It's not, obviously. So real compassionate is loving the person for who they are, not asking them to do anything or live up to, your ideas of what life should be. So it's may they be happy. Say may they be free. So sometimes people do get miserable. So don't try and be happy all the time during this retreat. You're allowed to be miserable and grumpy. That's why I gave that person a grumpy license. I had to give them a license to be miserable because they thought there was something terribly wrong with them on the retreat. Everyone else was smiling and happy, and they felt that's really terrible, and they just were trying to be happy like everyone else, and they felt they didn't fit in, and they felt just so much of a failure, they couldn't smile all the time. And so give them a grumpy license was actually understanding what compassion really is. It's unconditional, no strings attached. I'm not going to try and change you. I'm going to respect you for who you are. So you have an ache in your body. I'm not going to try and get rid of your ache. Tinnitus, I respect you. May you be happy and well. In other words, the door of my heart's open to you. You don't have to disappear. You don't have to leave. Tinnitus, there's enough space in my life for you and me as well. That's kindness. So you do that to your body, whoa, your body relaxes. Do that to your mind, your stupid mind with all defilements. Oh, okay, defilements, I love you. Thank you, anxiety, for coming to visit me. Oh, you're so nice. And then, of course, anxiety is gone. This is compassion, kindness. Real compassion is with no strings attached, doesn't force, there's no craving, there's no wanting. It's just being. So yeah, you can do that. But you may all the nuns be happy and healthy and attain Nibbana. But I refuse to follow what you tell me. What is the relationship between meditation and karma? Some said all disturbance during meditation are caused by karma. No, it isn't. It's caused by people slamming the door, or by people making noises. They can't say all disturbance during meditation is caused by karma. Sometimes it's just the way we just react in an unwise way to whatever is happening. When breath has become very thin, almost difficult to notice, how you deal with it? You just let it happen. My breath, how old am I now? 67 almost. And am I 67? Forgot now. Yeah, 66 and a bit. You should know because you arrange my birthday celebrations all the time. I rely upon you to remember and tell me how old I am. But it's, you deal with it, just leave it alone. All those years, my breath has come in and out without fail. It hasn't missed one. That's why I'm still alive. Same as you. Can't you trust your breath now? It's pretty reliable. So if it wants to go in very thin, fine. If it wants to go in fat, fine. Just let the body do the breathing. It knows what to do. So I don't deal with it at all. I just trust my breath. I find even my body leaning forward, trying to keep attention on that thin breath. No need to. Later on I'll mention that it's not your job to choose what you pay attention to. Let the mind choose that. Yeah, the breath is about to disappear. It's supposed to disappear. So what you should watch? Whatever is left. Whatever is right in front of your mind right now, that is what you pay attention to. I'll say more about that tomorrow. Dear Ajahn, in your talks you have said the pain should be observed to realize its true nature. Did I say that? Pain is the key of the door to Nibbana. Can you please elaborate this? I don't think I said that. So that is what we call fake news. It's a ball from President Trump. No, I don't think I've ever said that. It's true nature. You don't have to sort of observe it very long. I know my true nature before. The true nature of pain is it hurts. Pain is the key to the door of Nibbana? Absolutely not. The opposite is. It's actually peace, stillness. So, don't know where you got that one from, but I deny it, and I'm going to, if you press this, I'm going to call a lawyer. No, I don't do lawyers. But no, I don't think I said that at all in your talks. Have I ever said that? I can't remember me saying that. The trouble is, I say so much. The chances are, the more you talk, the more you're going to put your foot in your mouth. I used to get quite intense tensions in my jaw and face when meditating on the sound of silence. All these moments I noticed my awareness was intensely focused on my face. Ooh. However, when I let go of the perception of it being a sound coming from my ears, it became more of a mind object, and attention ceased. Okay. Why was this? And do you have any tips on how to let go of this perception more easily? I feel like I tried too hard. Yes. Trying too hard always causes the problems in meditation. And again, you can't get the water to be still by trying. You let it go. Not wanting, not craving, not ill will. Stopping. So all this like wanting, what happens is, we start meditating and we just do it just like everything else we do in life. You want to get something, you've got to sort of work for it. And then you really try hard, and when you don't get it, people try even harder and harder and harder, and they realize you're going in the wrong direction. So this is what the Buddha did, or rather the Bodhisattva, the Buddha to be, did for so many years, really forcing himself and putting so much effort in and realizing that is not the way. And just as I said in the first night, learning how to let go, let things be. Ajahn Chah's other simile, because sometimes people don't believe me. They go, you've got to put some effort into it. This is what Ajahn Chah said. He said, it is just like his monastery was like a mango orchard with the trees planted by the Buddha. And all those trees got so many ripe, juicy mangoes. But if you want to get one of those mangoes to eat, you cannot climb the tree. You'll never reach a mango that way. You cannot throw something at the mango to get it to fall. You can't get shake the mango tree to get them to fall. There's only one way you can get those mangoes from the trees planted by the Buddha. And that is to sit perfectly still underneath the mango tree. Hold out your hand and a mango will fall in. Such is the great wisdom and compassion of the Buddha. When I first heard that story, I thought, I've chosen the wrong teacher. The guy's crazy. And I forgot that for so many years, because it didn't register as anything which is important. Only later on in my monastic life you realize what a beautiful teacher that was, and just how profound that little simile was. Sit perfectly still. Open up your heart. Kindness. And all these things fall. You try and shake the mango tree, or the Bodhi tree if you like. Try and climb it. You don't get anything. It's all about letting go of craving. The path is, but no traveller on it is seen. If you travel it, if you do it, if you walk it, if you shake it, you don't get anything. How many times have you tried that? How many retreats have you been on? Where you really put forth effort. You really tried hard to get deep meditation or stillness. Sometimes you get close, but no. So I'll do another retreat, and another, and another. And one day, hopefully, you'll understand. You've been trying too hard. Stop. Stop all this trying to get something. And then the mango falls. So often that's the case. So, that's why people get so tight and tense. And that's the opposite to what the Buddha was talking. He said, this is a path without groaning. I love that saying. A path without groaning. A peaceful, beautiful, wonderful, happy path. So, that's what the Buddha said. And that's actually how we meditate. So, it's enough information for this evening, and tomorrow there'll be some more. So, I wish you a happy night if you want to, but I'm not going to tell you if you want a miserable night, it's still fine by me. Whatever night you want, the door of my heart is open to you, so have whatever night you like. Good night. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, if you want to carry on meditating, fine. If you don't, fine. Whatever you want to do. Because I don't force you. Hopefully you don't force yourself.